I can't find my wig. It's my comfort blanket. Oh my God. Oh, well, not to worry. Go on.
I'm recording now, Nigel. Anyway,
with makeup.
good afternoon, Nigel.
Hi.
For joining us.
Thanks for asking me.
So, my first question to you is, what was your childhood like?
My childhood only ended 5 years ago. No, my childhood was fantastic. I obviously grew up in a Caribbean family. Growing up, my earliest memory, or one of my earliest memories, because what happened was when Mum had me, we ended up living with my grandparents. And my cousin was also there, my cousin Samantha. She was about 3 years older than me. So Samantha kind of dragged me up. If it wasn't for her, I wouldn't have learnt my alphabet when I did. I think I learnt my alphabet at 3 years old. I wouldn't have been so into reading. I just love reading. But one of my earliest memories growing up was me and Samantha decided that one day we would jump on this table, which was in the living room in my granddad's masonette. Granddad and nan's masonette. So we're jumping up and down on this table, and we were like singing. And I remember glancing down and seeing this sawdust on the floor underneath us. But obviously, when you're like 4 or 5, you don't think about things like that. Anyway, the table broke. But I remember the cursing that we got from my granddad. So that was one of my kind of earliest memories. But yeah, my childhood was fun. I mean, I grew up in the 70s and 80s. As we all are aware, England, Britain was a different place then, especially if you was a person of colour. And but even that was fun. You know, we had various gangs where I grew up, and because I used to go to church, there was myself, Delroy Richards, Trevor Stewart, and Nicky Mullins. We were the only 4 black kids within like a 2-mile radius of where we lived. So we'd have all these different gangs of like youths calling us various names and stuff. And we didn't actually ever take umbrage. We just used to start laughing at them, and that wound them up even more. So my early days, I certainly was spent doing a lot of running and laughing. Someone wanted to chase me and do me over, but loved it. You know, Mum was always working. I can probably say this now because I'm old enough, but you know, I was one of the original latchkey kids. You know, Mum worked. She did night shifts. She'd be. My dad wasn't the greatest dad. He liked to kind of. There's a song by Paul Young called "Wherever I Lay My Hat, That's My Home." Well, that's my dad's favourite song because that kind of gives you an idea of what he was like. So a lot of growing up, I had to kind of do on my own by myself. And then when my brother came along, I just became his protector. So, you know, Mum would go to work and leave us there from whatever time she went until whatever time she got back. But I just got on with it. Most certainly in terms of being independent, you know, I was doing my own breakfast from the age of 5, attempting bacon sandwiches from the age of 7, and then doing beef burgers and stuff from the age of 8. so I was pretty self-sufficient. And yeah, childhood was good. A lot of happy memories. Mostly just having a good time and just enjoying the moment.
Mm. So, did you enjoy school?
I loved school. School gave me the opportunity to confirm what I kind of thought when I was young anyway. When I was younger, it's really strange because obviously we had racism and things going on. I've always loved being black. I've always been really proud of it. And what school gave me a chance to do was to show how great I was. And by this, I mean, when I went to school, my ambition was to be the best, was to be better than everybody else. So, you know, I managed to finish all of the reading books in infant school, which meant that I had to go over to junior school to do my reading. I was also given the responsibility of having kids read to me. So at the age of 6, I'd have some kids sat next to me reading. I'm like, no, yes, no. I managed to do all of my maths for infants. So I got sent over to the junior school probably a year before I needed to be to do English, maths, and reading because I was just so far ahead. But going back to what I said about my cousin Samantha, she's the reason why. I have a philosophy that if you go up with an elder girl sibling, they drag you up. They drag your standards up. You can't fail to be great because they want to teach, don't they, girls? Come on, let's play school. Let's play teachers. Oh, let's do your ABC. And when you're a kid, you're like, oh, go on then. A, B, C. So I really, I really thank my cousin for kind of being there because she really, and when I've looked at other families where they have got an elder sibling and then a younger sibling, you tend to find the younger sibling gets to a standard really quickly because the older one wants to teach them and bring them up. School, I mean, when I went to the senior school, I love senior school as well. Obviously, the next question is going to be about problems, so we'll talk about that a little bit more. But yeah, I love senior school. It helped me to kind of understand people. It kind of clicked one day, and it really sounds really strange now. But I realised that if you were about the age of 13, I realised if you were nice to the women teachers, they would love you. They would do anything for you. So things like detentions and all that. I never had any of that now because, oh, Mrs. Mills, your hair's looking lovely today. And she'd be like, oh, thank you, Nigel. Ooh, ooh. And I learned that, if you compliment people, they actually hold you in high regard. So, yeah, I love school. It kind of really taught me a lot about myself. And I got a lot out of it. Would I go back? Absolutely. I'd go right back to the beginning, back to the age of 4 and do it all again.
So did you have any major problems at school? Were you ever in trouble or?
I got in trouble. I can count these. Four times.
Mm-hmm.
The first time was in geography. Our geography teacher was called Mr. Peterson Jones. And on our first lesson in geography, it's my first geography lesson ever. I'm a first year in senior school. And he said to the whole class, you will write in block capitals. And we were like, And then he followed that up with, if you don't write in block capitals, you will get a detention. So guess what? The whole class learned how to write block capitals that day. But I got into trouble in his class once because I threw a polo mint at a girl and it kind of bounced off her head and she started crying. So I'm like, what are you crying for? And she went and told him and he was like, Nigel Campbell, get out of my class. So that was the first one. The other 2 times I got into trouble was because I was defending a friend. You see, being one of the only people of colour in the school, you almost had to put on a bit of a front as well. And there was a few of us who hung together. And I remember this one lad, he was I think he was year 4, so about 4 years older than me. And he'd come over and he was like, he was trying to, what he'd done, sorry, second time I got in trouble. Someone had tried doing some dog poo-poo and they wanted to wipe it on my friend. And I took umbrage at that. So I gave him a quick slap, which for some reason resulted in his face swelling up to the size of a small planet. And I got dragged into school and my year head said to me, what did you hit him with? And I said, my hand. And he took a step back. He was like, what do you mean your hand? So that was number 2. The third time was because a 4th year had tried to take a football off us. And for some reason, he decided that he was going to punch me. So I punched him back. And he ended up with him being on the floor and then again being dragged into school. And yeah, it's really strange. We became good friends after that. Rubber, fight. And there was one other time, but I can't quite remember what the last time was. And I was always getting thrown out of class for talking too much. Nigel Campbell, get out! It's because I always finish my work quickly and I had nothing to do. So I'd be like, Rosemary, my classmate partner, what are you up to? Oh, I'm finishing this stuff. You want any help? No, I'm all right. Are you sure? No. Peter, what are you doing? So my teacher just throw me out, always throwing me out. Get out, Nigel Campbell. So I spent a lot of time in the corridor. But I'd already done the work, so there's no great loss. Rosie, my nickname at nursery was Radio Nigel. So, yeah, you can probably see why. My mum's favourite saying, if you've ever seen my stand-up that I did at the root of the Glee Club, one of my mum's favourite sayings is, shut up, Nigel. Shut up. Yeah, you're right, Jay. Nothing has changed. But yes, those are the only real problems I had at school. I mean, you know, there was the odd fight, you know, this thing where you go to school and someone's got to be the cock of the year. Well, for some strange reason, they allocated me as that role. I don't know what it was. Maybe because I was black and taller than everybody else. I didn't want it. And then some guy decided that he was going to fight me, and we had a fight, and he come off worse, and he pulled out a knife, and it was all kind of messy and stuff. But that was it, really. What's that saying? I'm a lover, not a fighter. So I always found a way of using my my words to get out of most situations which might have resulted in violence for other people. Good times.
Okay, so you're the oldest brother, because you said you've got a younger brother. Have you got any more brothers or sisters?
Whoa! Okay. Remember I was telling you about my dad?
Yeah.
Well, there was a name for my dad back in the. In fact, I'm not going to give it a rude name. But my dad, like I said, wherever I lay my head, that's my home. Dad had around about 5 homes, which resulted in, I think there's 9 of us at last count, 7 boys and 2 girls. There may be others out there, but I've stopped looking. The reason I know so much about this is because when Dad got dementia 9 years ago, I took it upon myself to go and find all my siblings and tell them what was going on. And they kept popping out the bloody woodwork, didn't they? It's like, oh, we're related. Are we? Yeah, I'm your long lost brother. Oh, okay. So I think before we got dementia, I was very angry about how he carried on, because I thought, you're my dad, you should only have had me. And blah, blah. There's part of me which does understand his mentality, most certainly because he was here in the 70s, very racist time. He had no academic skills as such, struggled to read and write, but he was very good with women. So they do say you work in your flow of genius. My dad worked in his flow of genius. So yes, I've got 6 brothers and 2 sisters, and we all talk and speak at least once a fortnight and put the world to rights. And it's crazy. We're all, in terms of personality, I would say that all of us, bar 2, are exactly the same in terms of bah, bah, la, blah, loud. In fact, there's 2 that are louder than me, believe it or not. So it's my dad's fault. My dad's fault.
And did you go to university or further education?
No, I've done a few college kind of courses, NVQs. What else have I done? NVQ, done a couple of NVQs, something to do with fitness and weightlifting. I've since kind of done my own kind of training away from that, social media management, etc., etc. Didn't really appeal to me, if I'm honest. I wanted to just work. I think because when my dad left, which I think I was about 14 when my mum decided, I've had enough of you, come out! So there was a big hullabaloo, and she just basically flung him out. So he was gone. And straight away, I then became the man of the house. So what I didn't want to do was have to take money off mum to kind of go to school. So I think I had 3 paper rounds at one stage. I worked in a chip shop. I also had a job at Peacock's. And then I picked up a gig selling Sky satellite television. Don't ask me how. I had more money when I was at school than when I left. But what it meant was that every single thing I needed, whether it was for trips, whether it was uniform, whether it was lunch money, I didn't have to ask my mum for it, which meant less pressure on her. I didn't tell her I was doing that. I just did it. Yeah, so that was kind of that. But yeah, so uni wasn't for me. I didn't want to go back to her and say, Mum, can you fund me to go to university 200 miles away and just pay for me to go and get drunk every night? Because she'd have said, shut up, Nigel! Or no chance.
So what was your first job when you left school? What did you do?
I've done a few jobs, actually, Karen. I was going to say my very, very first job was working in a chip shop peeling spuds. Actually, no, that's a lie. It was a paper boy, then a chip shop, then Peacock's. When I left school, I worked in a bank briefly, although that's a story that I'd rather forget because they're very racist there. I'd say my first proper job was when I started working for a company called Pell Furniture. and I started there as a business administrator, which basically meant I answered the phones, I helped people with their orders, and that was it really. But then what started to happen was that I would get phone calls come in, and I would actually take someone from being an inquiry to actually placing an order. And in some instances, there were very big orders, 2 or 3 classrooms worth a couple of £1,000. And it was noticed by the sales director, because basically I was selling as much as the reps were out on the road. And if you consider the reps were all on like 15, 20 grand a year with company cars, and there was little old me on 9 grand a year, struggling to get by, but selling more than they were, it was a pretty easy decision for the sales director. So one day, about a year and a half into me working at Pell, I spotted him walking down the office and didn't think anything of it. And he had a box in his arm. So he's walking down, I could see him, and he's come up to me, come up to my desk, stood in front of me and gone, "Right, son, these are for you." And he's dumped this box, which was catalogues, on the desk. I've gone, huh? I thought, I'm not doing any more filing, you can get stuffed. And these reached into his pocket, are for you, and dropped a set of car keys on the table. And I was like, oh, what's going on here? Right, I want you to go out there, make the company some money. And I was like, so that was how I became a sales rep, literally like that. So the first thing I did, obviously I grabbed the catalogues, grabbed the keys, got in the car, put the catalogues in the boot, went to the nearest phone box, because this was before mobile phones, and I phoned my friends. And I went, "Lads, I've got a company car, where shall we go?" So we spent about 2 weeks driving up and down the country. And then I started actually doing some work. But that was my first proper job that I can kind of be proud of, because with the bank, there was no kind of progression, because all the kind of top spots were filled by the right faces. And I think being promoted to a sales rep just based on my own work that I was doing, without realizing that I was impressing people, that for me was definitely one of my great achievements. Because from there, the rest is history. That's how I've been in sales ever since, because of that very moment, because someone spotted something and thought, we'll have some of that. What's really strange is they gave me a pay rise the following year to £12,000. But then because they hadn't been paying the right amount of company car tax, I actually ended up earning less money than if I was on £9,000. So I was like, got this beautiful car, drive around, couldn't afford to bloody have lunch, couldn't afford to eat, couldn't afford to buy clothes. Well, that was a bit of a mad one. But then I did get headhunted from there, and the next job I went to gave me a £9,000 pay rise. So that was all sorted after that. But yeah, that was my first proper job.
So where did you learn your sales techniques from?
Okay, so when I started at Pell and I was selling on the phone, when I worked at Pell and I was doing the customer service thing, for me, it was just about just being nice to people, listening to them. I was selling without realising why I sold. Well, I think it's because I took the time to ask questions and try and understand what the end user was looking for. Pell Furniture sold educational tables and chairs. So, the plastic chairs you get in schools, well, that's what they used to sell, and tables. We also did labs and bespoke furniture as well. It was when I got headhunted by Remploy, that's when I actually did my first sales training. So this is where they talked me through the theory behind the practical. So it's really strange because I learned in reverse. I did the practical first, and then they showed me why I was doing it well, as opposed to learning the theory, then doing the practical. But what they taught me fitted in with how I was already treating people anyway. Because my philosophy is just to treat everybody like they're the best person in the world. You know what I mean? And whether that results in a sale or not, brilliant. If it doesn't, you haven't lost anything. But with the Remploy training, I took the area, which was West Midlands. It had never done more than 250,000. Within 18 months, I took it to £650,000 of turnover. And they were like, oh my God, how have you done this? And I went, because you've taught me how to do it well. So it was sales. I learned about people. I love people. I've always loved people. I am the kind of guy who will go and sit next to the oldest person in the room and just ask them questions about their life. I want to know, what made you happy when you were younger? What kind of music did you like? What kind of dancing did you do? I want to know it all. And But it just fits in with me for sales because it's about people, isn't it? Don't get me wrong, if you're selling a kitchen or windows or double glazing and you've got to sit there and get the deal, that's different. That's like hard-nosed selling. I don't do that. I'm not into that. Someone says no, they say no, that's it. Boom. But in terms of selling, by not selling, by having a conversation, by being a consultant, by guiding people down the path, oh, mamma mia, I love that. I love that.
So, has your job's always been in sales, or have you deviated from sales to do anything else?
You know something, Karen? It was really strange actually, because I was thinking about this the other day, and I remember when I was at Remploy and I went to see a company in Wolverhampton who wanted some furniture. And the guy who I had to see, the director, there was him and his IT guy. And we did the presentation, we went through it all. And he had a real strange voice. He sounded like that when he was speaking. It's like really weird. And he was quite creepy as well. He had a funny nose. He just creeped me out. He reminded me of the child catcher off Chitty Chitty Bang Bang. It's crazy what this thing does to you, you know. And then at the end of it all, he went, very, very good. He says, you need to come and work for me, you do. And I was like, really? Yes, you come and work. If you don't work for me, you'll be in sales for the rest of your life. I went, no, I won't. Because I think what it was, him saying back to me and almost telling me what my future would be. At the age of 23, no 23-year-old wants to be told what their future's going to be. He's like, I know what I'm going to be doing. And he says, you come and work for me. I tell you what, you go off and put together some reasons why you'd be a good fit for my company, and you can come and work for me. And he sent me off, got the order and sent me off. And to be fair, I thought about it for 2 weeks. And the reason I thought about it was because of the words that this guy had said. You're going to be in sales for the rest of your life. And I thought, I don't want to be in sales for the rest of my life. But I didn't send him any information. I didn't pursue it. I think for a couple of reasons. Firstly, he creeped me out, which was like, I can't work for somebody I'm scared of. And secondly, I was determined to prove him wrong. But the strange thing is I have been in sales all of my life. I was selling when I was 2 years old. I was selling what I wanted from my mum or my granddad or my nan or my cousin or my dad. Dad, can I have? No. Dad, can I have? No. Dad, can I have? Oh, go on then, have this. That was selling. So for him to say to me, you're being selling, you know, I realise that now, but it really kind of, I was really cheesed with that. I thought, oh, I don't want to be, but I love sales. Sales for me isn't sales. It's people. It's people every single step of the way. Sales is the bit which comes at the end. People come first. People come first, second, third, and fourth. Then a sale comes at the end of that. So, you know, it fits me perfectly.
And when did you decide to go self-employed? Was it?
So I went self-employed. So I went part-time self-employed 6 years ago. So when Dad got diagnosed with dementia 9 years ago, at the time I was working at Yale.com, Yellow Pages, 80-hour weeks, up at 6, out at past, on patch by 8, back home for 6:30, in my office till 9, bit of food, live for the weekends. When Dad was diagnosed with dementia, because I knew that I would have to take over everything, I knew that job wasn't going to really work. And it's really strange how the universe works, because around about the same time Dad was diagnosed, an order that I'd got in the previous quarter, which was worth quite a bit of commission to me, then got cancelled. And there was a bit of a hoo-ha because it had been cancelled by another one of the reps who then put it through himself. Very, very incestuous. So I was ready to leave anyway. I was peed off. But what's really strange about the universe is about a week before I handed my notice in, I contacted the tax office because I couldn't work out why I was on this phenomenal wage, but only walking home with like 1,300 quid. And I was on the phone to this guy for about half an hour. And he says, Mr. Campbell, are you sat down? And I says, yeah. He says, I think you've been overpaying your tax. I went, oh, really? For how long? He says, well, since you started at Yale. I went, really? And he says, yeah, you're due a rebate. I was like, really? I don't suppose you could tell me how much for. And he went, yeah, it's about 18,000. But I didn't hear the rest. I heard the 18 and went, ah! Danced around the house with a little Congo. But it was almost like the universe was saying, right, we're going to let you go from Yale now. Here's the money that you should have had, and this will help you move forward. So we're looking after Dad and everything else. You'll be okay. So I left Yale. Before I left Yale, though, very smart of me, I applied for a job with Groupon, the coupon people, and managed to get it. And he says, when can you start? So I said, oh, I've got to give a month's notice. I didn't really. I could have given a week, but I wanted a month off. A month to spend that money. But that month gave me time to go and sort Dad, make sure I had his medication, try and kind of create some kind of routine. I then started at Groupon, and then 3 years into Groupon, I got approached out of the blue by some guy. I was at a hairdresser's just doing my presentation, and this guy, excuse me, can I have your phone number? I was like, yeah, well, what for? Because you'd be fantastic doing what I do. I thought, oh, okay, then we'll see. Gave him the card, went home, thought nothing of it. He then phoned me, and basically he sold insurance, personal protection insurance, so life insurance, critical illness, that kind of thing, which was really strange because my dad didn't have any insurances. So I've got a guy telling me about strokes, dementia, all these things which my dad wasn't covered for. And he got me thinking, well, if my dad wasn't covered, how many other people haven't got it either? So I took him up on his offer. So I actually became self-employed, part-time self-employed 6 years ago. But then I left Groupon 2 years after doing the insurance. So I became full-time self-employed 4 years ago. And it's been a roller coaster.
So was that in insurance then that you were self-employed in?
So when I left Groupon, yes, I flung myself into insurance. And I also had a mobile phone franchise. So I was selling Vodafone, EE, and all those other dodgy SIM card kind of things. That was a bit of a lemon. The guy who got me into it, he sold me a bit of a pup. So I put quite a bit of money into it, and the return, let's just say I lost £7,000 that year, which was good because it meant that he cancelled out my profit, which means I didn't have to pay any tax. I then got rid of the mobile phone business and just focused on insurance. But the insurance, if I'm completely honest, it wasn't me. It wasn't my flow of genius. You know, going to see someone and selling on fear. Ooh, so what would you do if you had an accident? What would you do if you lost a leg? What would you do if your kids was ill? It just didn't feel right for me. You know, how can I help somebody by selling them fear, a fear-based product? Yes, it's a very valuable product, and there'll be a lot of people who've had insurance, who've had to make a claim, who are happy they've done it. But in terms of me selling it, didn't fit me, didn't fit my psyche, didn't fit the way I was built. So I kind of dropped the insurance. I think it was last year I dropped the insurance completely. And I've got to be honest, best thing I did. It was almost like the universe said, right, at last, you've taken notice of what I've been saying to you and got rid of that bloody boring job. Go off and help people. And that's where my focus is now. And that's why Love Sales, Hate Selling. That's why I do the training, the programs. All of that is designed to raise as many people up as I possibly can. Because the one thing that used to frustrate me when I worked at Yale and at Groupon is I'd go and see all these business owners and they'd be spending money hand over fist and they didn't have the foggiest why they were spending it. It really annoyed me, honestly, because I remember one guy I went to see and I said, okay, Mr. Customer, where do you advertise? Oh, well, I'm in the local newspapers. So he was in the Hereford paper, Leominster, Ludlow, Cleveland, Mortimer. I'm in the parish magazines. I'm on Yale.com. I've got an advert in Yellow Pages, and I'm in the business book as well. And I'd be like, wow, that's fantastic. So this guy would be spending, in total, probably about £6,000 a year on his advertising. And the thing that used to annoy me was when I said to these people, which one works the best? They'd shrug their shoulders and go, I don't know, but I'm busy. I'd be like, ah. And the reason, excuse me, the reason it frustrated me was because if they could have proved to me that Yellow Pages had got them nothing, I'd have cancelled their advert and saved them anywhere between £200 and £3,000. But because they couldn't even make that one connection, well, it let me off the hook. Don't forget, I've got a target. I've got a target. Now, but the thing is, because I sell ethically, if something's not working, I'll just say to someone, don't do it. But these people weren't even giving me a chance to save them money. I don't know. It's all right. Do you ask, you know, when someone phones, do you ask, oh, I ain't got time for that. And it's the same at Groupon. I'd go and see a customer at Groupon, a restaurant. We'd say, hey, sir, we're going to do a deal. We're going to knock 60% off your prices. So we're going to do a meal for two for £10 with a glass of wine. And we're going to pay you 50%. And at that point, they'd either throw me out or go, carry on. Honestly, words and power. What I always used to say to my customers, before we do this promotion, let's talk about how you're going to get these customers to come back. Well, what do you mean? Right, okay. So when a customer comes in, what information can you take from them that you'll then be able to use to contact them in the future? Oh, we could take their mobile number. Brilliant. Their email address. Brilliant. What else could you do? Oh, we could do some flyers. So if they take a flyer and then come back to the flyer, they'll get, oh, music to my ears. Absolutely fantastic. So what I want you to do is to train all your staff, let them know what you're going to do. And then when I flick the switch, you've got a system in place. I can tell you now, out of the, let's say I saw 1,000 businesses when I was at Groupon, I can probably tell you the 5 who actually did the strategy to get them to come back. And what was frustrating for me was that these guys were giving away 70%, 80% of their margin to get in what I'd call a lost leader customer, but then they couldn't even be bothered to put something in place to get those customers to come back and pay full price. So invariably what you'll see, if you go on Groupon now, you'll see the same companies on there all the time. And you know why they're on there now? Because they can't come off there, because if they come off there, they won't have any business at all, because people have got so used to seeing, oh, we'll wait until the discount before we go there. They've messed themselves up. Yeah, but again, frustrating, because business owners were just doing those little simple things. You know how easy, I mean, Jay will tell you this, do you know how easy it is to set up a QR code which goes to a form that someone can fill in? It's like, you could actually do it and put it on your phone and say to people, just scan that, and it'll take them straight to your form and they can fill all the information. But they couldn't even be bothered to do that. So for me, Love Sales Hate Selling is my platform to all them people who don't look into their marketing, don't care about their marketing, are scared of their marketing, want to know more about their marketing. Yeah, that's what I'm here for, to help you guys so you don't make any mistakes going forward. Or at least you know what you need to do going forward.
So obviously you put your success down with Love Sales Hate Selling by getting to talk to people.
Absolutely. I mean, today,
conversation with people.
The thing is, you see, marketing is, I think what happens, a lot of people complicate it. A lot of the gurus, they complicate it. Slow and easy, slow gin fizz, scented candle funnel. People go, whoa, that funnel sounds amazing. When in reality, what they're saying is get a landing page and get some email software. And that's where people get lost. I mean, I did a live today in the group, which was to show people how easy it is to make content. And it was as simple as there's a program that you can use in your Chrome browser, and you press record, and when you record, it types out whatever you say. So you can create a blog post without even typing anything. Now, for me, you know, I thought everyone should know that. The problem I've had is that realizing that what I know, not everybody else knows. So it's getting that information out. But Love Sales Hate Selling allows me to give you, it's called a voice note 2. It's in the group. The last video I did today, I demonstrated it on there. You can also do the same on your mobile phone as well. So if you've got an iPhone and if you've got Android, you can do the same. And literally, you just talk into it, and it will type it all out for you. And it's like, oh my God, hallelujah, hallelujah. Because some people hate writing. So my success with Love Sales Hate Selling is because even when I started my networking, even though I went there originally as an insurance person, I was talking to business owners about marketing. I was talking to them about things they could do. I was talking to them about things they could implement. And I think the reason that I turned it into almost a product, a paid service, was because, and I remember it right. I remember it well. Actually, 2 years ago, I came across 2 businesses who I'd done some work with when I was at Groupon, and they were both in the same state. You know, no real leads, still on Groupon, still floundering, and I had a meeting with both of them independently, and then I put together some quite extensive marketing help for them. Literally, it was a step-by-step process. Do this, do this, do this, do this, do this. About 10 pages in total. Demographics, who their audience were, how many people there were. Oh, it was amazing. It was that good. I should have sold it, but I didn't. I gave it away free. And the thing that really was the straw that broke the camel's back was when I phoned both of these people back. And the first one said to me, yeah, well, I've seen your email, but what's on, you know, I've not, what was supposed to be on there? I said, have you seen the attachment with the social media marketing? Oh, I didn't see that. I'll try and read it next week because I'm not so busy. Really? And then the second person said, yeah, I've read it, but yeah, we'll put it into place next year instead. And see you later, Savannah. Remember, we're coming to your house in Marbella sometime in the next 3 to 4 months, okay? Make some space. We're coming over to your house. Karen,
whenever you want.
Karen, sort them flights out.
Yeah, all right. Thank you, guys. Sorry, I need to go. Bye. Bye-bye.
So the frustrating thing for me was that I had spent probably between the 2 reports, because I had to go off and do research, probably about 8 hours putting them together, because I just wanted to help. I wanted to say, look, do this, it's going to work. And the fact that they didn't even read it, at that point I said, right, from now on, I'm charging. And that was the kind of thing that made me go, bing. But don't get me wrong, I still help people for free. But the way that I help you for free now is by creating content that you can go off and apply it yourself. If you want me to sit with you and help you do it and kick you up the bottom and make sure you do it, that's when you pay for that privilege of me kicking you up the bum. But free, I still give free. All of my content I create is designed for someone to say, oh, I can do this, or I can go off and do this, or didn't know I could do this, I'm going to try that now. But that's what I kind of put my success down to.
Okay. And do you think luck plays a part in your successful business, or is it just down to your hard work?
As my good friend Peter Williams used to say to me at Yale, good luck, you make your own luck. And by that I mean, if you phone 5 people this week and don't get any sales, guess what? That ain't tough luck. That's like, you ain't done anything. If you phone 100 people this week, you should get some sales. That's making luck. Luck, if you turn the word luck into action, if you're always taking action, something happens. So, for example, today, without realizing, I've had 3 social media clients agree to a proposal I sent last month. 3 separate ones, all today. Now, if I hadn't sent the proposals out, you could say, oh, it's lucky it's come in, or you could say, well, if I had to put those proposals out there, then they wouldn't have come in today. And to be fair, it's given me a nice injection, guys. So maybe I'll pay for us to go to Marbella instead. Actually, it's not that much. But let's do it. Marbella or Manly's in Germany. Let's go to Germany. Labour under credit. Oh, Jay, words of wisdom. I'm taking that. I'm going to put that in my group and I will credit it back to you, sir. Labour under correct knowledge. Boom. But it's true, you make your own luck. You know, if you don't, you know, there's a saying, if you take enough shots, you'll score. If you don't take the shots, you ain't going to score. You know, how many strikers do you see? You get 30 goals a season, you don't shoot. You don't. So, you know, it's luck is action. Karen, you're testament to that. You know, every day you're taking an action which brings people nearer and nearer to making a decision whether they want to work with you. Same for you, Marie. Same for you, Jay. Same for you, Ernie. Same for you, Mandy. Every day we're having a conversation which will result in a left or a right decision. Every action creates a reaction. So even if you send something out and you think, oh, it's not working, the reality is it might not work straight away, It may well work a week or two down the line. It may well work a year or two down the line. I've had clients come back to me who I spoke to 2 years ago, and they've come back to me now and said, "Oh, I'm ready now. Here's the money. My price has gone up. Oh, here's some more money then." So, you know what I mean? But it's all good. Good things come to you when you good things come to you when you deserve them, when you need them, and based on what you put out there as well. Love.
And if you lived your life again, would you change anything, or would you keep it the way it is?
Right, the only thing that I would do differently, and it's a good job my mum's not listening, I would have started playing football a lot earlier. Being from a Caribbean family, the church was my second home. Now, you lucky people probably didn't go to the church that I went to, where you turned up at 9 o'clock in the morning and didn't leave till 2 or 3 in the afternoon. How someone can talk for that long, I don't know. Oh, maybe I should have been a pastor instead. We had these things called conventions, which would go on from 9 in the morning till 10 at night. And yeah, oh God. At the age of 8 years old, when all you can think about is food and you're an hour into a church service, knowing that you've got 5 hours to go, there's nothing worse than that. And then at the age of 8, when there's someone stood next to you having a Holy Spirit fit, and you're poking your mum and saying, "Look at her, mum," and your mum goes, "Shut up, Nigel." So I think I was 13. I'd managed to escape on Sunday and go and play football for his football team called Central Park Rovers or something. And we played against a team called Hallis Hawks, and I was the biggest kid on the park. I was knocking people all over the place, scoring goals for fun. So their manager says, "Oh, come and sign for us." And he did a great presentation when he said, "Oh, you could be the next John Barnes." So I went and played football from about the age of 13. If I'd had my way again, I'd have kept my life the same, but I would have probably started playing football from about the age of 9 or 10. I could have escaped all those conventions and just played football instead. But that's it. I mean, I've made mistakes. We've all made mistakes. Will I change any of them? No, if I'm honest. It's shaped me. The mistakes I've made have given me wisdom. They've given me understanding. They've given me patience. They've taken away the horrible bits of me as a person. Because, yeah, no one was perfect, but I realised that what I've gone through has kind of removed the bits of me, which I probably didn't like that much anyway. So, yeah, I wouldn't change a thing, girl. I'll just play football a bit earlier.
Okay then, well, thank you very much. Has anybody got any questions to ask Nigel? Yes, Marie.
Other than working, what hobbies have you got, Nigel?
Well, my hobbies have changed over the years. Football used to be my big one, and kind of keeping fit. I used to, at one stage in my life, I was playing for a team on a Saturday, a team on a Sunday. I was refereeing at Stumps, which was by the Villa ground. So I was doing referee for the indoor 5-a-side matches. So I'd also played for 2 teams there. And it was great. I was fit. Dodgy ankle. That's another story. But I'll just say my dad dropped me when I was a kid and tripped over some milk bottles and my foot was never the same. But that's another story for another day. Music. I used to, back in the rave era, we used to, I think the kids called it spit bars. So we used to kind of get 2 decks and someone would play a bit of music and be like, "Yeah, my name is Nigel and I'm cool and I'm going up to school if you want to be my rule." So yeah, that was a bit of fun. My computer, PlayStation every now and again. And I think, I suppose the 2 big hobbies for me are reading and learning. Because I kind of feel that if I've got nothing to do, and there's only a TV in front of me, I'd rather learn something. So I'll dive into a course or an ebook or something, and then I'm then sat there after I've read it and I think, "Oh, I want to try it out on my computer." So I'll go to my computer. So it can be quite a time thief sometimes. But yeah, I'd say my 2 hobbies are learning, reading, and with COVID, there's a little bit of Star Trek that's crept into that as well. So I don't know if Jay will understand that.
Yeah.
Mate, I did it wrong way round. I started off with Discovery, realised it was absolutely fantastic. I'm now on Enterprise. Wow. I feel like a kid watching it. It's like, oh, it's amazing. And the story.
Star Trek Voyager. Star Trek Voyager is my favourite.
That's the one. That's the one next behind Enterprise. So
have you got Amazon Prime?
No, but I've heard Picard is very good, very dark.
Yeah,
so,
I was going to say Picard was absolutely brilliant.
Yeah, so I'm watching that. I'll tell you what I did like as well, Bo. I don't know if you're into Star Wars. The Mandalorian. It was on Netflix. Oh, sorry, no, it's on Disney Channel. Really good. Loved it. You know, when you watch a program and you've got the typical setup of good guy, bad guy, something goes wrong for the good guy, goes through a bit of trauma, then it all comes good in the end. They all follow that kind of classic format, but they're so feel good. It's like, ooh, I find myself laughing out loud when I'm watching Star Trek. My wife hates it. I don't think we sat in the same front room for the last week because whenever I get any free time, it's like, duh, 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 duh. So yeah, my hobbies, COVID has developed a new hobby for me. I'm going to find some more though once COVID's over. I do want to get back on my push bike and I do want to get fit again. I'm getting a little bit podgy. Far too much alcohol on the weekend.
You'll be going to Comic-Con next.
Oh, well, you say that, sir. I'm thinking about it. The wife won't come, but I'm definitely thinking about it.
You and me can go. Yeah, I'd love to. I've never been to Comic-Con. I'd love to go.
Neither have I.
I'm not sure whether I would dress up as a character, but
there'll be no dressing up, sir. The only thing I'll wear is a wig, and that's it. I'm not putting anything else on.
I might dress up as Doctor Who, but yeah.
It's really strange, the dressing up thing, because I was one of the only boys in my school to take part in a dance production, and we had to dress up. And there's actually a video of me around somewhere, it might even be on YouTube, of me in a tutu, with a pair of ill-fitting ballerina shoes, doing some kind of standing up split, so I'm like that, with some lady and twirling her. Honestly, I was bloody nuts when I was a kid. If I ever find it, I might show it you.
I've got not so much a question, but an observation. I remember
the
first time we met, you and I met, was at a sales workshop run by Masjid Warid.
Boom! Jedi Knight sales warrior.
Yeah.
He is.
But I had the impression that you were a sales consultant or like a coach back then, and I was surprised that you, when you turned up at a coffee and natter event, and you stood up and did your elevator pitch, and you started talking about insurance.
Yeah,
I'm thinking, oh, I thought this guy was a sales consultant, or a sales coach.
Yeah,
but that's what you're doing now. So you've obviously had the foundation already there.
Yeah,
and so as far from a branding perspective, I can see how it's kind of like built up.
Yeah. Well, the thing with the insurance, which really annoyed the life out of me. So with insurance, because it's the most regulated industry in the world, you can't actually tell people you do insurance.
Really?
You can't say what products you sell. You can't say what companies you represent on social media. Now, if you consider I come from a marketing background where I've been advising people for the last 11 years how to market themselves online, and then I go and do a bloody business where I can't even talk about myself. Frustrating, to say the least. And that's why it didn't fit with my flow of genius, because A, I didn't kind of like selling insurance anyway, and B, I couldn't even talk to people about it. I had to literally, it was only cold calling or referrals. So for me, that wasn't the way of building a business. That's just being a mercenary. I don't want to be a mercenary. I sell double glazing if I want to be a mercenary, or kitchens, or I don't know, something that's high ticket and you got to get the deal on the day. I'm not interested in that though. So, but you're right. It always felt alien to me, Jay, when I was talking about insurance, because it wasn't my flow of genius. It was like, oh, if your loved ones, what would you do? And oh, how would you pay your bills? And it's yeah. I'll leave that to others. It ain't me. It ain't me. I'm going to say sorry to all my customers who have bought policies from me. I still love you. But come and learn how to do sales instead. It's much better.
Any more questions for Nigel?
Yeah, I have a question. And Nigel, what is your aims for the future?
My aims. Oh, what a question, Mandy. I can see why you're top contributor in the group. I have big aims. You can't see this, but above my desk.
Oh,
that is the car. That is the car I want. Now, the reason I want that car was because my wife, bless her, won me a Tesla for 24 hours in a raffle about 18 months ago. And I kid you not, gentlemen, because the ladies might not get this, but you know when you had that, remember that toy that you had, that you know, not the toys, that toy that when you got it kind of took over your life. You were so happy. You probably didn't speak to your parents for a week after you received it because you were that engrossed in that toy. Well, trust me, lads, that Tesla, that will be the greatest toy you'll ever have if you can get one. Because as a car, it's absolutely amazing. It's got all of these toys in there. You can even play your Atari games in there when you're stuck in traffic. You can play ping pong. I mean, come on. It talks to you. It's like Kit. Remember Knight Rider, guys?
Yeah.
It's like Kit, man. It's like Kit. That's what I want. Now, in order for me to get one of those, I have to justify it with my earnings. So what are my plans, Mandy, you say? So my plan is, and you've heard it here first, so my short-term plan is to turn what was my crash course workshop into a video course, which people will then be able to just buy as and when they need it. I'm actually in the middle of recording that content at the moment, and that will be going live at the beginning of September. The second part of my cunning plan is to then turn my program into a course as well. Now that's going to go on a membership site. So what will happen is people can pay a monthly amount and get access to the crash course workshop and the program and work through it at its own leisure. The big benefit of the membership site though is I can just continue adding content to it. So it's an ever filling void of content to help you sell and move forward in your business. I'll also get guests to come in there as well. And then once I've got those two set up, it will then just be about, I mean, my one-to-one price will go up because like to work with me, you gotta pay a slight premium for me to kick you up the bum. And then it will just be about creating more content to help more people and going on like that. So whenever I learn something new and apply it, I'll then just put some training together and say, right, guys, it's in the membership, go and access it, go and get on with it. So that is the kind of plan.
right.
You know, and I'm busy putting that into place. The reason I'm doing it that way, and it was a interview I did 2 weeks ago with a guy called Sam Day. I don't know if you guys saw it. Sam Day is 27. He's an online entrepreneur. He has been doing courses for about the last 5 to 6 years. Sam Day doesn't have to work. If Sam Day decided I'm having a month off, then Sam Day would have a month off and it's not going to impact his business. And I think every single one of us here can get to that level.
Yeah.
Because if you're prepared, if you've got content which you can then turn to something which people are prepared to pay for, then all you've got to do is get customers. Do you know, as a business, you only probably need between 200 and 500 customers in your business lifetime to have a very, very good business. Depends on the price point. I did this exercise with somebody the other day who does coaching, and we worked out that if she only got 100 customers this year, she'd make £164,000 of turnover. And she was like, really? And I was like, so you don't need huge numbers. So that's the plan. And I think doing it that way as well means that all the information that I want people to have to help them move forward is then just out there and they can access it as and when they need to. So that's the big plan, Mandy. And then, and then when I get there, we'll be able to go to places like Marbella and Germany and We'll just say, right, guys, who's coming? I've got the flights. When are we going?
Any other questions for Nigel?
Can't believe Ernie ain't got a question for me. Oh, you're on mute, mate. You're on mute. We can't hear you. You still? Oh, go on.
Saving it for Thursday.
Mate, I'm interviewing you on Thursday, mate. But listen, I tell you what, if you could put together a 5-minute, say a 3 to 5 minute story for the end,
Definitely.
and then I can give you the stage, and you can show people our power.
Yeah. Great. That's a plug got in.
I've done it a few times today, mate. I've done it a few times.
No, brilliant.
Excellent. So I'm all questioned out then. Excellent.
Yeah. Well, thank you very much for your time today, Nigel.
Thank you for asking me. It's really nice because it's really strange because not many people have asked me to do this. She's like, what is it? Am I too loud? I think sometimes people, you need to ask. So for example, with my own group, when I first started doing the interviews, I was struggling to get people to do it. And since COVID, I've got a waiting list now up until the middle of September. It's like, but thanks for asking. I think as business owners, as people, you know, it's not often that people ask us as business owners about us. They'll say, well, how are you? And it's like, oh yeah, I'm fine. And that's as far as it goes. But no one ever takes the time to dig deeper. Or you say you're fine. What does fine look like? You know, what's going on with your business? Oh, okay. Well, you know, and, you know, do it yourself, guys. If you've got people within your circle, when you ask them how they're getting on, if they give you that one-word answer, say, whoa, what does that mean? What does fine look like? You know, you're making good money. Have you got some good customers in? Because believe it or not, people will appreciate that. You know, we've all got partners or we're married, whatever. And even my own wife doesn't ask me those deep questions to get me going, blah, 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 blah. So that's, you know, the one thing I'd say to anybody is if you can empower a business owner by actually speaking to that business owner and finding out a bit more about them, you're actually doing them a service, because they will come out with these pearls of wisdom that they didn't know were hidden inside them. And if you help them to get that out, they're going to love you for that as well. So thank you, Karen.
Thank you. Yeah.